Stop everything you are doing right now. I need you to hear this, not as background noise while you fold laundry or scroll past something else, not as content you'll revisit later when you have more time. I need you to stop, and I need you to stay. Because what reaches you in these next few minutes was not meant for everyone who passed through here today. It was meant for you. You have survived a war that no one warned you about. Say that again slowly in your own spirit. You survived a war. Not a rough season, not a string of bad luck. A war. Invisible, intentional, and aimed precisely at your family. And here is the weight of that truth. You have been fighting it without knowing its name. You have been trying to fix with human hands what was assembled in a spiritual dimension. You applied effort, prayer, patience, work, sacrifice, and the collapse kept continuing. The money disappeared before it had anywhere to go. The bonds between the people you love cooled down without a single argument to explain the distance. The health of someone in your family started showing signs that made no sense to the doctors. And you kept watch in the dark hours when everyone else was resting, carrying a heaviness in your chest that you could not translate into words anyone around you would understand. Why my family? You have asked that question, not once, many times. At 3 in the morning when the house is silent and the worry is not. In the middle of conversations where you smiled with your mouth while your spirit was bracing against something you could not see. That question, why my family, is not anxiety. It is your discernment telling you the truth that your eyes have not yet been given permission to verify. Your spirit already knew. Today, the knowing becomes a revelation. Because today, on this very day, June the 4th, something has been brought to light in the heavenly court. What was armed against your family has been exposed. Not by coincidence, not by algorithm, not because this video happened to surface at the right moment. There is no accident in the economy of God. You were directed here. You were brought to this precise moment because you are exactly the person who needed to receive this today. The light that was being blocked has been named in the divine record, and that naming carries consequences that reach your family beginning now. This is not background content. Do not treat it like that. The enemy has always depended on distraction, on the ordinary motion of your day, pulling you past the moment of breakthrough. Stay here. If this revelation has reached you as a confirmation of what your spirit was already feeling, if something in you recognized the truth in these words before your mind had finished processing them, leave a sign here. A comment, a word, a simple confirmation that you received this. This is not a metric, it is a decree, and I am praying right now over every single person who confirms that the light which was being blocked from your family be restored within the next 72 hours, that what was sealed against you begin to break, that what was taken begin to return. Add your name to that decree. Now, I want to speak to you about something I have put together specifically for this moment in your life, because what I am going to walk you through in this video is real, and it is a beginning. But there is a depth that goes beyond what we can cover here. I call it the Solomon Code. It is a practical guide built on the same kind of wisdom that allowed one man to govern an entire kingdom without being dismantled by the spiritual forces that worked against every leader around him. The Solomon Code moves through 3 distinct sections. First, it teaches you how to diagnose the actual breaches, the open doors, the patterns in your family line that created access for what was assembled against you. Second, it shows you how to bring your soul into a stillness that the enemy cannot penetrate, not passive silence, but the quiet of a sentinel who is not afraid. Third, it gives you a discernment protocol, a structured way of reading what is happening in the spirit before it manifests in your circumstances, so you stop reacting and start governing. That guide is in the pinned comment below this video. Go there when we finish. But before we do any of that, I need to sit for a moment in a truth that most people rush past. There is a verse in the book of Numbers, chapter 23, verse 23, that says this, "For there is no enchantment against Jacob, no divination against Israel." Read those words carefully, because the enemy has spent considerable energy making sure you never truly believed them. Notice what the verse does not say. It does not say that no one has tried. It does not say that no word has been spoken against you, that no spiritual operation has been launched in your direction, that no intention was armed against the people you love. It says those things do not prevail. The distinction matters enormously. What was set against your family was real. The intention was real, the operation was real. But there is a jurisdiction, a divine legal boundary that overrides it. And the verse says that override belongs to the people of God as a standing reality, not as something they have to earn back each morning. This is the foundation everything else rests on. I want to speak now about a posture that you may have misread in yourself. You have been quiet about this. You have not announced your struggle. You have not posted your pain or gathered people around your difficulty. You have watched and waited and carried, mostly in silence, while the weight accumulated and the people closest to you did not always notice. You may have interpreted that silence as weakness, as though you should have been louder, more aggressive, more publicly positioned in your fight. I want you to hear me clearly. Your silence was not weakness. It was a sentinel's posture. Think about Elijah, not the Elijah on Mount Carmel calling down fire, though that moment will come for you too. Think about Elijah in the moment before that. He identified the enemy's operation. He recognized what was happening in the spiritual landscape around the nation. He did not react impulsively. He did not perform his discernment for an audience. He waited for divine instruction before he moved. And when he moved, the ground shifted. That is the pattern. Identification, stillness, instruction, then action that carries actual authority. You have been in the identification and stillness phases. Today we are moving into instruction. This is what I call the reverse tribunal technique, drawn from Isaiah chapter 54, verse 17. No weapon that is fashioned against you shall succeed, and you shall refute every tongue that rises against you in judgment. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their vindication from me, declares the Lord. This is not a verse of comfort. This is a legal decree. It describes a tribunal, a heavenly court, where the weapons armed against you are brought in as evidence, where the voices that rose against your family are presented for judgment, and where the verdict has already been rendered in your favor. Your role is not to beg. Your role is to present the case and receive the verdict. Step 1. Name what was armed. You do not need to know every detail. You need to be specific enough to bring it before the court. Jealousy that was spoken over your household. Envy that was declared with the mouth of someone who called themselves close to you. A word of curse that was released, perhaps in a moment of anger, perhaps with deliberate intention. A pattern of destruction that has followed your family line. A bond of collective undoing that touches finances, health, and relationships simultaneously. Name it. Speak it plainly. I bring before the heavenly court what was assembled against my family. I name the jealousy, the declared envy, the words of curse, the spiritual bond of destruction that was set against us. Step 2. Invoke the decree. Isaiah 54:17 is not a prayer request. It is a legal instrument. I stand on the decree of the Lord. No weapon that has been fashioned against my family shall succeed. Every tongue that rose against us in this court is subject to the verdict already rendered. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. We are servants of the Lord. This decree belongs to us. Step 3. Close with the verdict, not with supplication. Do not end by asking. End by declaring what has already been established. It is done. What was armed has been disarmed. What was spoken against us stands refuted. What was blocked now flows free. My family is covered. This is not my word. This is the word of the Lord over our household. Do this tonight, not next week. Tonight, before you sleep, stand in your home and walk through those 3 steps. Let the children hear you if they are old enough. Let the house itself receive the sound of the decree. Now I want to open something in you that I cannot close without addressing. What I just gave you is real. The tribunal technique works because Isaiah 54:17 is a real legal instrument in the spiritual realm, but a revelation does not replace a protocol. You can receive a breakthrough today and find yourself back in the same pattern 6 months from now if you do not understand how the breach opened in the first place. You do not need more protection. You need discernment. That is the thesis of everything I do. The people who live in constant spiritual warfare mode always defending, always bracing, always in reaction, are not failing because they lack faith. They are failing because they have not yet learned to govern. There is a difference between fighting every battle that presents itself and having the discernment to know which battles are even yours to fight. There is a difference between praying for protection and understanding the spiritual architecture of your household, well enough to know where the access points are before the enemy finds them. Your era of constant warfare is over. That is a word I say to you with intention, not as encouragement filler. The season you have been in, the exhausting, unrelenting season of fighting invisible collapse, that era is ending. What begins now, as the revelation of today is received, is a new era, the era of governing, not reacting, governing. And governing requires the kind of wisdom that the Solomon Code was designed to deliver. The first movement diagnoses the breaches. It shows you specifically where access was granted and how to close it permanently. The second quiets the soul into sentinel posture, the stillness that is not passivity but authority. The third gives you the discernment protocol so that you stop being surprised by the enemy's movements and start reading them before they manifest. Everything you need for that next era is in the pinned comment below. Before I let you go, I want to do one more thing together. Tell me where you are watching from, your city, your state, just that, and then speak this over your household, right where you are sitting. The spell does not prosper. Say it aloud. Those 4 words are not a formula. They are a legal response to what was named today in the heavenly court. And if this video reached you in a moment where you recognize something you had been carrying alone for far too long, share it. Send it to the person in your family who has felt the same invisible weight. You do not need to explain why. Just send it. Sometimes the most powerful thing we do for the people we love is place the right word in their hands at the right moment. The pinned comment is there. The Solomon Code is waiting for you. Do not let the familiar pattern of putting things off until tomorrow claim this moment. You know that pattern. It is the same pattern that has kept other breakthroughs from landing. Today is the day things change, not because of a feeling, but because of what was established in the court of heaven and what you just received as your inheritance. May the wisdom from above be your ground today. May your family find rest, real rest, the kind that belongs to those whose spiritual household is finally in order. I will see you in our next meeting.